What's up YouTube? Jeremy here, and in this video I want to talk to you guys about what happened in my life, my story, and I also want to talk about what it was like for me going through these events in my life, and also if you're going through some similar experiences, what you can do, who you can talk to, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'll get right into it. So I'm 20 years old. And when I was younger, basically since I was born, really, I was having some family problems. And what ended up happening pretty much was really traumatic for me. And it left a scar basically in my mind. And I won't get into what happened to me as a child or what event happened to me as a child, because that I'll save for another video. And because I could really talk days about that. So I want to really just talk about how I got through it and where I stand today. So yeah, there was that event that happened, and from when I was really like born basically till I was about maybe 10 years old, I had something called selective mutism. And for those of you that don't know what that is, it's basically you really don't speak to anyone but except for the people that you live with, pretty much. I remember when I was younger, people would try to talk to me, and I would just have this blank look on my face, and that went on for about 10 years. I was always on the shy side, especially when I was younger. And when I was younger, I had really bad anxiety. I still battle with anxiety still to this day, and it does get hard. A lot of times it takes over my life, and but yeah, I had that from till I was about 10 years old, and then when I was 11 years old, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And when I was first diagnosed, most people when they first get type 1 diabetes or are first diagnosed, they end up there in the hospital from, all kinds of things. They're throwing up nonstop, they're unconscious, they're sick, it's just really bad. With me, what had happened was when I found out that I had diabetes, I was just going for a regular physical I had to get one for camp or something. And I remember my doctor called me up and he said to me, would you mind coming back in tomorrow? I think there's something wrong with the machines over here when we took your blood. So nothing really was on my mind at the time, and I felt fine. So my mom and we go to the doctor the next day, and he sits us down in his office, and he basically said to the both of us, it's like, does anyone in your family have type 1 diabetes? So then I turned to my mom and I was like, Mom, oh my God, I have type 1 diabetes. She was like, no, you don't. And then the doctor said to me, yes, you do. And back then, I didn't know what diabetes was. However, I didn't know how complex it was. I just thought that it was something that, okay, you can't have sugar, this and that. And being 11 years old and basically feeling okay, health-wise, and then all of a sudden being told that you have something and you don't know what you did that was wrong, or your family didn't know what happened, how they did wrong, it was very difficult. So there on out, I was educated on what to eat, how to take insulin. And for those of you that don't know, there are technically really there are two main types of diabetes. Type 1 diabetes, the one that I have, and then there's type 2 diabetes. There's also a type 3 diabetes, but I'm not going to get into that today. That has to do with Alzheimer's and all that. But type 1 diabetes is usually, it's more juvenile. That could be more from genetics. With me personally, there was nobody on both sides of my family that had type 1 diabetes. They think that it's more they think that I got it from a virus in the past, and but I was the first one on both sides of my family to get type 1 diabetes. And what type 1 diabetes does is it typically means that your pancreas produces no insulin whatsoever. And the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes is with type 2 diabetes, your pancreas will produce insulin, however, not enough in it. And that's where it really differs. And with type 1 diabetes, you more or less count carbs for years, for about, I don't even know how many years, probably about 8 years. I went without counting carbs, yeah, because uh, I was on injections. I was on insulin shots for about 8 years until I changed to the pump. And I always did really know how to count carbs. However, um, it is very difficult in the beginning. And I remember when I was just learning, when I was first diagnosed, how to count carbs. It was a lot, especially being only 11 years old, not knowing what the hell was going on. I was very confused, and I'm not good at math at all. But once you like, then when I changed the pump, it was like maybe it was like over a year ago, maybe close to 2 years ago now. And they showed me how to count the carbs, and I was still pretty confused. However, I got used to it, and yeah, you could pretty much eat whatever with type 1 diabetes, as long as it's in moderation and you do what you have to do. As to where type 2 diabetes, you really do have to watch out with what you eat. And I believe you're on I think you're on a pill instead of like with shots. I don't know really. I'm not really too educated on uh, type 2 diabetes really. But also, like people ask me all the time, oh, like, so do you have the more complicated diabetes, or which one's more complicated? Um, it's a bit biased for me to answer that because I've had type 1 diabetes now for almost 10 years, and um, I pretty much got used to it. I mean, I feel like type 2 diabetes is more difficult than having type 1 diabetes because you're actually um, watching out. You really can't eat that much sugar, and that I feel like is harder to get away from than like just like watching out with your carbs and counting your carbs. But then again, it's completely biased for me to answer that question. So yeah, I was diagnosed with diabetes at age 11, and that took a toll on me. That really did take a toll on me because I, especially in my teenage years, my health really was doing horrible. I was doing horrible with my health. I was suffering from depression, and it really took a toll on me from when I was about maybe from when I was 14 to 16, and I was just depressed by a lot of things going on in my life. I was left back twice. I was supposed to graduate high school in class of 2014. I didn't graduate till class of 2016, and I just didn't go to school. I remember back when I was like 15 years old, 16 years old, I just didn't want to go to school. I was physically sick, and I was also mentally sick as well. I developed a lot of complications as far as like with my diabetes. Um, I almost died really. For those of you that don't know what this is, what I'm about to talk about, A1C, it's basically like a test that people with diabetes have that pretty much like it tells you how your blood sugars have been within the past like 3 months. And this was when I was 16 years old, and I pretty much didn't care. I wasn't taking my insulin, or if I was taking it, I was just taking, X amount of units, not really watching out what I ate. And I was just mentally and physically tired, and things were wearing me down from a lot of things that were going on in my life. And I remember I went to the doctor, and they looked at me and they said, your A1C right now is 14, And for those of you that don't know, that is incredibly high. Usually somebody without diabetes, their A1C should be about, I think, 4 or 5. Somebody with diabetes, a good range would be anywhere from maybe 6.5 to maybe 8, something like that. And I remember when they said that to me, and they actually said, like, you're really gonna die. And it was kind of like a vague thing to say, and they said it very serious. However, it was a wake-up call for me because I was like, what am I doing? I'm letting all of these things get to me. I'm letting what people say get to me. I'm letting everything just get to me, and it's wearing me down, and it's killing me, and it really almost did kill me. So it was at that moment that I realized that things are going to have to change. I'm going to have to change not only for myself and my well-being, but also for the people that I care about, because I have a very strong relationship with my mother and also my grandmother as well. And I was just going through so much shit at the time, and I would just take it. I would just let everyone, I would be like basically pretty much a human punching bag. And I've dealt with a lot of things in the past. I've had really bad anxiety, and I've had horrible depression. I even suffered from anger management before in the past, and I would just take my anger out on the ones that I love the most, from things that were going on with me in school, things that I got upset about. And I used to blame everything that was pretty much my fault on other people, especially the people that were in my surroundings. And it was really hard for me, and especially because, like I said, I'll get into what happened to me in the past in another video, because this video is already like over 12 minutes long, and I just want to talk about how to get through it. So yes, it really did take a toll on me, and especially it really did bother me that everyone who I started school with was already graduating. They had their life ahead of them, and the high school that I was going to, I felt that they didn't really cater to people like me. And when I say like me, I mean that, like somebody who was just different and didn't, like fit, like a stereotype or something like that. And it really did take a toll on me. I changed schools like 3 times, and it took me a while to find, like my motivation. And for years, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And that's not even a problem. If you don't know what you want to do in your life, that is actually okay. Because, I find that a lot of schools, they teach you, okay, you're going to graduate when you're 18, 17 or 18 years old. You're going to go to college, but they don't actually show you that it's okay if you're left back, because we all have our different ways of learning. And, when I first got left back, that was another reason why I was so depressed as well. All these people were graduating. I was just basically there. I was alone. People would just make fun of me. And I also had like learning disabilities as well. And it was very difficult. And, I find it that schools shouldn't teach that. Like I feel that, like, for instance, like with math, like a lot of the algebra, like I still am horrible at math. But I think that, schools, like I don't need that algebra, geometry shit or whatever, trigonometry, whatever. I mean, like, unless if you're going into like carpentry or something that involves that, you're not going to really need that math. I feel that schools should teach more valuable things, like, what to do if you're homeless, how to balance your checkbook. I mean, well, actually, there was a course that I did take my last year of high school that did teach me that, but more or less things like that, like like things that are just important in life. And I feel that schools, they just should teach more along those things. So when I was in my the first school that I was in my district, and my first high school, they really didn't know what to do with me. They pretty much just bounced me around. I went to night school, and I was just as depressed there. Then I finally went to the school that I graduated from. It was kind of like uh, people like me that were struggling, that were in special ed classes. I didn't particularly care for the school. However, at that point, I was like, you know what? I don't care at this point. I just want to get the hell out and leave. And even in that school, because I really did not like the idea of college. College was not my thing. If it wasn't for the college that I found that I'm going to now, I probably wouldn't even be in college, because I just felt like college wasn't my thing. And you know what? Um, I didn't know what was going to happen in the future if I didn't go to college, if I went to college down the line. But these schools, they teach you that um, you have to go to college right after you get out of high school, otherwise you'll lose interest. That might be the case for some people, but I think some people actually do need that break. Or so what if you don't go to college? No one should judge you for that. No one should even judge you if you're a high school dropout. you know and I see that all the time. And like, there's just so many things that I've been through in my life. And you know how I got through it was, really just don't even worry about what people think about you. And I know that's a very hard thing to say, because what the reality is, we all care about what people think about us. And for me to really just say, don't care about what people think, what I mean is that just do you, because we really do care about what people think of us. But, if you ever need somebody to talk to, message me. I don't care, because you know what? I like helping people out, and I really do enjoy it when people, talk to me and, tell me their problems, because I love to be that one, person to listen and help others out. I know what it's like to be ignored, forgotten about, basically, abandoned. And it's been a rough road for me, and I do want to get more into, my past experiences, because I know it is 100% relatable. I know a lot of you guys have been through it, especially when it comes to anxiety and depression, even anger management as well. Put yourself in front of others, because you know what? The bottom line is, you matter. And I literally, it breaks my heart when I've had friends in the past that have committed suicide. And it's literally, if they just had one person to talk to and to just say to them, you're going to be okay. I don't even really particularly care for the saying, it gets better, because you know what, a lot of times it honestly doesn't get better. But if you talk to somebody and tell them how you're feeling and get your feelings out, and just, find your motivation. Even if, like, if you're on the verge of committing suicide, you feel that basically you have nothing else to live for. Let's say even something small you think about, like, oh, I have to, I can't kill myself, because I have to make my bed in the morning. Or that actually, it might be something small like that, or something big like, I don't want to leave my loved ones behind. And because it is something that a lot of people go through. and I can speak from experience myself, especially when I was down in the dumps and I felt that nobody was there for me. Just think of something, one thing, even if it's the smallest thing, you know, don't do it. I'm here for you. And you can always message me regardless. I am always here for people, especially people that feel that they're not being heard. Let's all be the voice. Like we're basically the face. All of us are the face for this world. And let's change this world. Like let's do something good, and let's help people out. There are people out there that are literally struggling, whether it's financially, with depression, they're homeless, something along that line. You know, um, I will always be here for you to listen to your problems, and your problems can become my problems. Let's become friends, let's talk, because that's what this channel is going to be about. That's part of what this channel is going to be about. And I don't care who you are. I don't care about your past. I don't care if you just came from jail or Yale. This is the Jaguar Nation. This is Fear the Jaguar over here. And, I want to hear your stories. I don't care how old you are. You could be like my age. You could be younger than me. You could be older than me. I don't give a shit. Let's talk. You know, you're not alone. And, I know that that's kind of like such a used saying nowadays, but I honestly do care, and I think it's honestly heartbreaking. People feel the need to just disappear or kill themselves because of something that people don't want to listen about, or they just can't. Know they don't know how to take it. And in my opinion, that is absolutely not okay, because I am a strong believer of equality, and I really do feel that a lot of people in this world lack that. They view you as if they judge you basically, and it really is a bunch of bullshit. And even people that are like, oh, I'm judgment free, you could tell a lot of them are judging you on the inside. And like that's why I'm here, and that's a lot of what this channel is going to be about. Tell me your story. Tell me about how you got through it, or what you're going through. I want to hear your voice. I will make your voice part of this channel, and we will make something of this, because this people, I just want people to understand, and I'm sure that there are a lot of you guys out there that want your voices heard as much as me. And I got through it, and I've been through some pretty rough shit in my life, especially with family and even with friends as well. And it's still a lot of, like I said before in this video, I still fight my demons every day. And you guys, that's why I'm here. So please don't be afraid to message me whatever time of the day it is, whether we're in the same time zone. It could be like 3 o'clock in the afternoon by you and 3 o'clock in the morning by me. I don't care. Please don't be afraid to message me any time of the day. I don't care. You can message me on any of my social media. I will link it below in the video. And yeah, guys, this has been Fear the Jaguar. We're out.